Hello, welcome to Thursday's Not Today with me, Emma Calder. I hope you're well today. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's what's on the show today. First, we're going to hear what a council is doing to support residents still displaced following a fatal workshop house explosion.
But we have had support in place both for the 14 households that are still unable to return, but also for other residents who want to seek support. But hopefully we're moving forward now.
We'll have more on that shortly. Plus, we've got some amazing guests on the sofa too, including a historian whose study has found Nottingham's medieval population changes rewrote the city's history. That's the outcome of an archaeological study into Nottingham's past, which has revealed surprising insights into the influence of our city's medieval roots. Looking forward to that one. Plus, we're going to be meeting a TV, stage and movie legend who's here in Nottingham to preview a rather spooky play coming to our city next week. Clive Mantell, who starred in BBC's Casualty and of course was Little John in Robin of Sherwood, is on the show later on to talk all about ghost stories, which haunts the Theatre Royal next week. I feel like I need to talk a spooky voice with that one. And later on, we're also going to be meeting an inspiring young boy who's been doing some seriously amazing things. 15-year-old Freddie Vokes hasn't let his autism, ADHD, dyspraxia or hearing loss stop him from raising thousands of pounds and for being nominated for 2 national awards. We're going to meet him and his mum Sarah in a bit to hear all about it. And while many of you think yesterday was St George's Day, if you missed it, well, don't you worry, because it's actually been moved to next week. It's because of religious rules around Easter, but we've been asking people here whether they actually knew and what the day means to them.
It's all about England, celebrating our national day. Simple as that. The Irish celebrate St Patrick, why don't we have St George?
All that and loads more coming up just for you. But first, our new research by the University of Nottingham has been exploring how Nottingham's medieval population developed. The 3-year-long study has had some surprising insights into the city's history, which suggests that the county was able to regain its population numbers after the Black Death, which of course occurred in the 13th century and killed more than half of the UK population. But thanks to court records, tax documents and archaeological evidence, long-standing views about the impact of one of history's deadliest diseases on our county have just been rewritten. And here to tell us more is researcher Scott Lomax. Scott, thank you so much for joining us. This is fascinating. Tell us a little bit more about the research you've been doing.
Okay, so over the past 3 years, as part of my PhD, I've been looking at the population through studies of the court rolls, tax lists and archaeological data from excavations in the city from the 20th century through to the modern day. And it's just thrown up so much new information about just the population and how it changed over time from the Black Death of 1349 through to the 16th century.
And I think when we talk about 1349 in the 16th century, like it was so far in the past, why is research like yours so important?
Well, if we want to understand medieval England and medieval Nottingham, we really need to understand that up to 60% of the population died over the course of just a few months. That had a profound impact upon all aspects of society and had long-lasting impact that went throughout the medieval period. So anyone who wants to understand what medieval life was like really needs to understand the nuances of population change.
And what were the nuances of the population change? What have you found in your research?
So my research shows that in 1349, over the summer, approximately 60% of the population of Nottingham died. Wow. Due to the Black Death, the bubonic plague, pneumonic plague. However, what my research has shown, which has changed the narrative of what people have been long saying about Nottingham, is that very quickly the population started to rebound as people flocked. There was mass migration from the surrounding villages and towns, people even as far away as the north of England, the south of England, all coming to Nottingham in search of work to make Nottingham their home, and so the population started to recover.
So what was special? I mean, we know Nottingham's special, obviously, we love Nottingham, but what was special in that time about Nottingham? Why were people flocking here?
One of the most interesting pieces of research is the leatherworking industry. So Nottingham became a specialist centre for leatherworking, tanning in particular, both in the caves and beside the River Leon. So it does seem that lots of people were looking for work within tanning. and also lots of people who just came to Nottingham in the hope of finding work, and unfortunately there were just not enough jobs. So, but they completely began to take over huge parts of the town, particularly in Narrowmarsh, and also around Barkergate and Goosegate, which suddenly became the home to lots of people who'd moved to Nottingham in search of a better life.
And presumably, after this all happened, like losing 60% of the population is unimaginable to you and I today. But presumably this made a difference in the way Nottingham kind of is now. It's such a vibrant city with so many people here.
Yes, yeah, so it opened up opportunities really, because there were suddenly large open spaces where homes had previously been. And so in a sense you could argue that had the Black Death not happened, then the lace market wouldn't exist in the way that it is, because suddenly it's opened up lots of spaces, lots of people did live there, but there were still huge open spaces, which then began to be taken over by rich, wealthy people in the 16th and 17th centuries, and they're the areas that were then redeveloped during the Victorian period to make the lace factories and lace warehouses that created the lace market.
It's so fascinating. And of course you find this fascinating, you're doing it as your PhD. But what do you do once the research's been done? What happens to it? Where does it go?
Well, there is a thesis that is being written, and once the thesis is submitted, hopefully next year, I'm going to write a book about all of my research, how Nottingham changed between the years 1300 and 1540. Oh,
you'll definitely have to come and tell us about that. It sounds so fascinating. Scott, if people want to find out more about your research, where can they go?
They can look on the university website in the news section. There's a link to the article, which was published by Continuity and Change, or just Google Continuity and Change Scott Lomax. I'm sure you'll be able to find it.
Love it. Love it. Researcher Scott Lomax, thank you so much for joining us. Fascinating. Come back and tell us about that book. All right, now moving on, and residents in Worksop have been told there's no definitive timescale for when some families will be able to return to their households. Beg your pardon, excuse me, after an explosion killed a man and damaged multiple properties. The blast, which happened on April the 12th, led to the death of 53-year-old David Howard and caused more than 50 people to be evacuated from their homes. Now, nearly 2 weeks on, the authorities say that the structural damage to some of those homes is too great to people to return back home, whilst nearby cordons will remain in place whilst emergency services look for a cause. Jack Sims has more.
A community still reeling from a house blast that led to the death of a man, the destruction of homes, and more than a dozen properties inaccessible. Nearly 2 weeks ago, the explosion on John Street in Worksop ended the life of David Howard, with the cause of the blast still unknown. This explosion meant more than 50 people were evacuated, leading to a joint investigation between Nottinghamshire Police and Fire and Rescue Service. Days after the blast, Nottinghamshire Police would arrest a man on suspicion of murder. He has since been bailed. But as investigators and firefighters work to clear through the rubble in their search for answers, other residents and the council are left to pick up the pieces. However, for at least 14 households, this is something they can't do, as the damage to their own homes and the ongoing investigation prevents them from returning. At least 3 homes now need to be demolished, while others have been damaged by debris from the explosion. Since the incident, Bassetlaw District Council has been working with other agencies, such as Nottinghamshire County Council and the British Red Cross, to continue to support its residents. Help includes accommodation and clothing, with residents rallying together to aid their neighbours. And the council's chief executive, David Armiger, says these efforts are still ongoing, though he's optimistic things are improving.
But we have had support in place both for the 14 households that are still unable to return, but also for other residents who want to seek support. Some residents need access to food and clothing because they can't get back into their properties. Others just want to talk to somebody or need to be able to sort of get new medication. People really have sort of pulled together on this one. There is lots now being provided for individuals, from sort of, say, food all the way through to sort of potential support for things like school uniforms if the children are unable to recover their uniforms from the properties. And that is something I think has been a fantastic outcome of this, although it in itself, there's been a lot of positives come out of it. But hopefully we're moving forward now, and so we are just focusing on those key residents who are unable to return.
Emergency services say they are keeping an open mind about the cause of the blast. So although things have moved forward, for some it may be quite some time before they too are able to rebuild their homes. Jack Sims, 4Knots TV.
Thank you, Jack. Right, in other Knots news, and police have launched a CCTV appeal after a man was left with a broken nose and facial fractures in Radford. The assault took place on Norton Street on March the 28th, with police saying the 37-year-old victim was attacked by a group at about 10 to 10 that evening. They think the 4 people that you'll see on your screens in a moment will be able to help them with their investigations. And officers say anybody with any information should get in touch with them by calling 101. Next, and a violent robber who attacked a man in Nottingham city centre has been put behind bars. 26-year-old Thomas Pickering, of no fixed address, punched his victim in the face as he walked home with his girlfriend around High Street and Old Market Square last September. That was after approaching the couple to demand money before assaulting the 21-year-old man in a random and an unprovoked attack. Pickering had 8 previous convictions from his 28 offences, and appearing in Nottingham Crown Court last week, he was jailed for 3 years after admitting to assault with intent to commit robbery. Right, pop and grab yourself a cuppa and come back after this short break, because we've got your sports roundup and we've got a TV, film and theatre icon who's coming to Nottingham in an upcoming adaptation of Ghost Stories on the show next. Hello, welcome back to Thursday's show with me, Emma Calder. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's what's happening in Knots today. First, and the cost of on-street car parking in Nottingham will increase from August. Nottingham City Council plans to increase the cost of on-street parking across the city, with Zone 1 hourly rates increasing by 20 pence per hour to £3, Zone 2 rates rising by 50 pence an hour to £2, and Zone 3 rates rising by 20 pence per hour to £1. The council says the rates increase would come into effect from early August alongside increases to daily charges, with the move to generate nearly £250,000 in extra revenue. And we are sticking with parking. New barrierless drop-off measures will be introduced to East Midlands Airport from next week. The system, which is also cashless, affects the rapid drop-off zone outside the departures entrance and will use automatic number plate recognition technology to log people's use of the drop-off zones. Drivers will then have until midnight the following day to pay those charges, which isn't changing as a result of the new measures. The airport says the new system will be effective from May the 1st. And sticking with the theme of cars, Nottinghamshire Police have been cracking down on illegal street racing and antisocial behaviour, and say offences have fallen by 20% since the launch of its new Operation Wheelspin project last October. The operation has been targeting car cruising, which can involve drivers meeting to race at high speeds, performing reckless stunts or other antisocial behaviour. And so far, action has been taken against 181 drivers in areas like Nottingham, Worksop and Annesley. And in a new video, the force explained what they've been doing. Take a look.
Nottinghamshire is not a personal racetrack for people that want to abuse the roads. If you are found to be committing antisocial behaviour or any type of vehicle-related nuisance or crime, you will be prosecuted. Operation Wheelspin is a force-wide initiative which has been set up as a response to tackle antisocial behaviour in relation to vehicle crime, street racing and car meets.
Unfortunately, the standard of driving we see is particularly poor. You'll see them driving at excess speed, you'll see them donuting round, you'll see them drifting their cars around roundabouts, just generally using the public road as their own sort of personal racetrack really, which is obviously unacceptable. It's a weekend thing, it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday evenings where there'll be a bespoke team from Wheelspin, mixture of marked and unmarked police vehicles, so we can use a variety of tactics.
Part of Operation Wheelspin means that we've been able to work with key partners to build this project. So one of those key partners is Nottinghamshire Fire and Rescue Service. They've played a pivotal role in the engagement side of things and the educational side of things. So if someone was to breach a public space protection order, we offer, similar to a diversion course, where they can choose to opt to take part in this course, which offers educational advice around road safety.
We want to make our road network a no-go area for these individuals. They're putting their lives at risk, other people's lives at risk, and in no uncertain terms, we need to make it clear that our road network is not for this, and they're not welcome to use the roads of Nottinghamshire for this type of behaviour.
Next, we've got a very spooky West End surprise coming to the Theatre Royal next week as Ghost Stories, whoa, the terrifying theatrical experience, is here to bring you some spine-tingling fun like no other. It sounds incredible, to be fair. The production stars Dan Tetzel as Professor Goodman, a skeptic who sets out to debunk the paranormal but experiences haunting events that will see him and others at the outer limits of their rationality. And one such character who is also confronting these horrors is businessman Mike Priddle, played by TV legend Clive Mantell, who you know from Casualty and Holby City, Game of Thrones, even Robin of Sherwood, whose haunted home will see him digging up some ghosts from his own troubled past. And Clive Mantell joined me earlier to tell us all about it. Clive, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Now, we of course know you from your role in Casualty and Little John in Robin of Sherwood, very close to our hearts, obviously, here in Nottingham. But now you're in what sounds like the most terrifying play ever, coming to Nottingham next week. What can you tell us about Ghost Stories?
Well, you're absolutely right. It is terrifying. I'm very glad that I'm in it, terrifying the audience rather than sitting there watching it. I'm still of the variety of human being that hides behind the sofa watching Doctor Who. So it's a real jump scare sort of evening. It's a psychological scare sort of evening. And it's a very contemplative scare sort of evening. You know, it does make you think about your place in the world and your responsibilities, as well as being an entertainment. There's a lot of laughs in it, a lot of jump scares. It's an immersive evening, I would say, an entertainment, not a conventional play. We have a fantastic soundtrack which accompanies us. It's almost like 2 or 3 extra characters on stage. That, combined with very, very atmospheric lighting, help create a really quite magical landscape. So a professor who is trying to debunk 3 ghost stories which play out in front of the audience. I can't tell you any more than that because it would spoil some pretty hefty shocks. It's been going for 15 years now, and we're about to go back into the West End for its 4th run in the West End in that time. So it's an amazingly popular show. But the lucky people of Nottingham get to see it first before it disappears down into that there West End for a few weeks, leading up to Halloween.
I love it because you're right. You can't tell us too much about it. And this show has had so many amazing reviews that have, seen the performance. But there's not much that comes out of it. You do a very good job of making sure the audience don't ruin it for the next audiences coming in.
Well, I think that's actually a bit of a miracle, and the audience are asked at the end of the evening not to give away things, which they stick to, obviously, because none of the amazing things that happen have escaped into the public media. So it's a responsibility that the audience are happy to share, I think.
Absolutely. And with the show, I mean, one of the straplines is the very best of theatre with the buzz of a thrill ride, which just sounds brilliant. Now, I've seen Woman in Black, which to me was the scariest thing I've ever seen in the theatre. But they say Women in Black is like watching Peppa Pig compared to this.
Yes,
what would you say to an audience who are looking forward to coming to see this next week?
Woman in Black is like an episode of the Teletubbies, really, in terms of scares compared with this. It is scary. We have fully grown men, rugby players hiding behind their wives' armpits, and it's a phenomenon, really. Right from the word go, each evening, it's always handy if there's a couple of screamers in the audience, and that includes men and women. They tend to set everyone else off, and it's a whole new audience really coming to a theatre. It's which is a great responsibility as far as we're concerned. We're getting a lot of people through theatre doors who don't ordinarily come to the theatre. So obviously we want them to come back and see musicals and dramas and comedies and whatever there is, because the theatre is a many-faceted entertainment. But if we can get them through the door to see this this very scary evening and then stay, and for it to become part of their, their entertainment package, so to speak, that's a wonderful thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Clive, we cannot wait for you to come to Nottingham next week. Remind us when and where you're performing.
Well, it's next Tuesday. Is that the term?
It's 29th. It's my birthday, yes.
The 20. Oh, well, happy birthday for next Tuesday. And runs through to Saturday. We've got, I think we've got one very late show on the Friday night, about 9 o'clock or something like that. Otherwise, it's 8 o'clock at the good old Theatre Royal. And so an early evening matinee on the Friday at 6, and
Wonderful.
then it's going to be a great week. I love that theatre. I really, really love that theatre. I love Nottingham. I've been there many times recently.
It is beautiful, and we cannot wait for you to be with us next week. Clive Mantle, thank you so much for taking the time. My chat with him. What a nice man. Time for your sport now, and we are starting with the ice hockey after the Nottingham Panthers playoff winner Logan Nielsen confirmed he won't be returning to the club next season. Nielsen, of course, made Nottingham his home for the past 2 seasons and was part of the squad which won in the playoffs last weekend. But he's confirmed that he won't be returning to the Motorpoint Arena next season and has thanked the Panthers fans for letting him live out a childhood dream. On to football now, and Notts County, who know their match with Harrogate on Saturday is a must-win if they want to compete in this season's playoffs. A slump in form has meant the automatic promotion places look almost certainly out of reach, and whilst the playoffs seem the most likely route into League One, Notts know they need to win their final 2 matches to avoid being caught by the likes of Grimsby, Colchester or Salford. That one kicks off at 1 o'clock on Saturday, and we'll have the thoughts of head coach Stuart Maynard on tomorrow's show. Into League One now, and Mansfield have a far trickier task at hand on Sunday when they travel to champions Birmingham City. The Stags look almost certain to be safe from relegation, but not thanks to their own efforts. They lost 5-1 to Reading on Monday and are slightly lucky that the team below them also didn't pick up any points. A point from one of their 3 remaining matches should be enough to maintain their place in League One next season. And we'll also hear from Stags manager Nigel Clough in tomorrow's show about how they'll respond to that Reading loss. And Forest fans not travelling to Wembley on Sunday have been urged to get a ticket for the women's final home game, which could see them lift the league title at the City Ground. Carly Davis's side know a point is enough to secure an undefeated league championship on Sunday, but even a significant defeat should be enough to win the league, given their superior goal difference over Wolves. Tickets for the match have gone on sale from £6, and the match won't clash with the men's FA Cup semi-final at Wembley, so get yourself down there if you can. Time to see your picture of the day now, thanks to Chris Breeze for this spring shot of St Mary's Rest in Sneinton. Lovely, love that spot photo. As for your weather now, we're a little low on sunlight for the rest of the week. We've had some sun today, of course, but that cloud will be coming back tonight, dropping to lows of 6 degrees tomorrow. We will once again see some sunshine tomorrow, but it will turn mostly cloudy by the afternoon with a high of 16 and a low of 8. Looking ahead to Saturday, much of the same really. Sun in overcast skies with a high of 15 and a low of 8. Hay fever rife though, I feel, at the moment. Right, after the break, we are meeting the man behind a disabled comedy event coming to Nottingham next week. And if you can't wait for that, we're also going to be looking at what you can get up to tonight across Nottinghamshire with your What's On guide. That is on the way next, so we'll see you in just a few minutes. Bye-bye. Hello, welcome back to Notts Today with me, Emma Calder. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're all right today. Here's some more of your news headlines. First, and plans for 73 new homes on Calverton Green Space have been approved by councillors. The development will see more than 6 dozen homes built on vacant grassland south of Main Street, with the plans including a mix of 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 bedroom detached and semi-detached homes. This will also include some affordable housing, with the proposals originally put forward by the developer Langridge Homes back in 2018. Councillors backed the plans at a Gedling Borough Council planning meeting on Wednesday. And we are sticking with approved plans because a new hot food takeaway will be created next to a Nottingham frozen food supermarket after the council backed a planning application. The eatery will adjoin the building currently occupied by Heron Foods on St Anne's Well Road in St Anne's after Nottingham City Council approved plans put forward by the applicant Risolenti. Document said the takeaway will only be allowed to open to customers between 7 in the morning and 11 at night, with these operating hours following a consultation with local residents. All right, let's see what we can get up to tonight with our What's On guide. First, something for all the plonkers, because Only Fools and Horses, the musical, will see the Trotters taking over the Theatre Royal tonight. It's got such good reviews, that show. If you are looking for a nostalgia trip of one of Britain's best loved TV series, then that starts at 7:30. Tickets are limited, but they are still up for grabs. Or if you want something a little different, Capoeira is in the community is hosting a free session that showcases the Afro-Brazilian dance and martial arts at Fishergate Point. So if you want to get yourself moving, starts at 6:30. Sounds like a fabulous way to spend a Thursday evening. And finally, it's lights, camera, action at the Arc Cinema, because the 11th annual Beeston Film Festival, which is so good, kicks off today, where they're going to be showcasing hundreds of superb films from all over the world. And that starts at 7. Tickets are just a £5. If you go to that, have a great Thursday. But right now, it's time for our next guest. And if you're looking for some laughs, then this event may just be for you, because a very special comedy event is coming to the Vat and Fiddle on the 28th of April, which is Monday night. It's going to see comedians with various disabilities taking to the stage to get you laughing like no other show you've seen. And the show's founder, Benny Shakes, the award-winning comedian and creator of the Blue Badge Bunch game show, hopes it will promote a platform for more disabled comedians to come forward and share their unique stories in a fun and supportive space. And I'm very pleased to say, here to tell us all about it is Benny Shakes himself. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. So talk to us about your journey into comedy. How did it happen? How did you get to this point?
Well, I can't say it for every disabled person, but when I left college, Portland College, I went through a stint not doing nothing. Then I wanted to try and get a job that I look good on paper like everyone, but when they opened the door and called Benny Shakes, they're like, oh. So I did that for 4 years.
Wow.
And I was getting, you were really good, but someone else got it. And that made my depression go downhill. So, yeah, I spent time in hospital at Millbrook, and they said, Benny, you need a reason to live. So I started volunteering at Lighthouse charity shops, and they heard about me. I do gardening, and they said, oh, we've got a farm. Why don't you go and grow some veg for the children? So I did, and I met John the farmer, and I was telling him stories, and you're funny, what? And I'm like, I've always wanted to be a comedian. So
and it is sometimes those people that just go, you're funny, you need to do this. And now it's working for you because you're bringing a show to Nottingham on Monday.
Exactly.
Tell us about that.
Well, the show is all about giving a platform to disabled people. Now, what does disabled say to you? Is it physical, or is it... Disabled to me is a range of disabilities. You've got physical, you've got neurodiverse, mental health. So I wanted somewhere for us to come together, make punters laugh, but connect as a unit and help each other grow as comedians.
Do you think sometimes it's more difficult as a disabled comedian, because sometimes I think audiences aren't sure what they're allowed to laugh at and whether it's okay to be laughing at something you as a disabled comedian is saying. Do you think that's a barrier for a disabled comedian?
Sometimes, I mean, like everything, you have to find your voice in comedy. When I started, yeah, my second gig was no laughter. And the
Must be so bad.
I know, but the last joke I went, you can laugh, you know. And the last joke, everyone laughed. And I know.
You're allowed to.
Cheers for that.
You're allowed to. Well, I think it sounds wonderful. Yeah. Remind us when and where you and the team are performing on Monday.
Monday night, we're at the Vat and Fiddle in Nottingham. It's near the train station. Doors open at 7 o'clock. All come early. They've got loads of food on. And it's 7 till 10 o'clock. Come and laugh and just get to know the comedians.
Monday Night Giggle is what we need. Benny Shakes, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Totally welcome. Love a good Monday Night Giggle. Right, let's have a look at some more of your news stories now. Your top story today. And residents in Worksop have been told there's no definitive timescale for when some families will be able to return to their households after an explosion killed a man and damaged multiple properties. The blast, which happened on April the 12th, led to the death of 53-year-old David Howard and caused more than 50 people to be evacuated from their homes. Now, nearly 2 weeks on, and the authorities say that the structural damage to some homes is too great to return to some people to their homes, whilst nearby cordons will remain in place whilst emergency services look for a cause. Jack Sims has more.
A community still reeling from a house blast that led to the death of a man, the destruction of homes and more than a dozen properties inaccessible. Nearly 2 weeks ago, the explosion on John Street in Worksop ended the life of David Howard, with the cause of the blast still unknown. This explosion meant more than 50 people were evacuated, leading to a joint investigation between Nottinghamshire Police and Fire and Rescue Service. Days after the blast, Nottinghamshire Police would arrest a man on suspicion of murder. He has since been bailed. But as investigators and firefighters work to clear through the rubble in their search for answers, other residents and the council are left to pick up the pieces. However, for at least 14 households, this is something they can't do, as the damage to their own homes and the ongoing investigation prevents them from returning. At least 3 homes now need to be demolished, while others have been damaged by debris from the explosion. Since the incident, Bassetlaw District Council has been working with other agencies, such as Nottinghamshire County Council and the British Red Cross, to continue to support its residents. Help includes accommodation and clothing, with residents rallying together to aid their neighbours. And the council's chief executive, David Armiger, says these efforts are still ongoing, though he's optimistic things are improving.
But we have had support in place both for the 14 households that are still unable to return, but also for other residents who want to seek support. Some residents need access to food and clothing because they can't get back into their properties. Others just want to talk to somebody or need to be able to sort of get new medication. People have really sort of pulled together on this one. There is lots now being provided for individuals, from sort of say food all the way through to sort of potential support for things like school uniforms if the children are unable to recover their uniforms from the properties. And that is something I think has been a fantastic outcome of this, although it tragic in itself. There's been a lot of positives come out of it. But hopefully we're moving forward now, and so we are just focusing on those key residents who are unable to return.
Emergency services say they are keeping an open mind about the cause of the blast. So although things have moved forward, for some it may be quite some time before they too are able to rebuild their homes. Jack Sims, 4Nots TV.
Thank you, Jack. Right, in other Nots news, a drug dealer who was found supplying large amounts of cocaine in Mansfield and Ashfield has been jailed. Officers seized 28-year-old Javan Gregory's mobile phone when he was arrested for other matters in July of last year, which is when they discovered a series of messages about the supply of Class A drugs. Warrants at addresses in Mansfield and Kirkby, including his home in Mansfield Cedar Street, found deal bags, weighing scales and 260 grams of cocaine. He was jailed for more than 3 years at Nottingham Crown Court last week. Next, and a police driving instructor and 2 officers helped to save a motorcyclist's life after finding him unconscious on the M1. 4 Nottinghamshire police vehicles were travelling to Northamptonshire for an off-road training exercise when they came across standstill traffic and a motorcyclist lying unresponsive in the road. They used emergency first aid, including CPR, to save his life during the incident on April the 8th. The officers involved said they worked together to support him and confirmed that he's since been discharged from hospital. All right, let's take one final break now. But when we get back, we're going to be hearing Nottingham's surprise at the fact that St George's Day hasn't, in fact, happened yet. We thought it was yesterday. Turns out no. Plus, we're meeting a very inspiring young boy who's using his autism, ADHD, dyspraxia and hearing loss to inspire others and raise money. He's on the sofa next. Hello, welcome back to Thursday's show with me, Emma Calder. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're okay today. Here's some more of what's happening in Notts today. First, and the train company East Midlands Railway says there'll be special queues on Sunday amid travel disruption. Of course, it's the day of the FA Cup semi-final between Nottingham Forest and Man City, which clashes, of course, with the London Marathon and Network Rail works around London St Pancras. These works means there's limited East Midlands Railway services between Nottingham and London, with extra LNER services running for fans from Newark instead. East Midlands Railway says customers with pre-booked tickets can access a special queuing system at St Pancras to ensure they don't miss their train. Next, and a special book of condolences has been opened in Gedling so people can pay tribute to the late Pope Francis. The former head of the Catholic Church died on Monday, with the Vatican confirming his death was a result of a stroke and subsequent heart failure. His casket is lying in the state at St Peter's Basilica until Friday, and now Gedling Borough Council say it's opened a book of condolences in memory of the former Pope at its headquarters in Arnott Hill Park. Next, sticking with religion, and yesterday, that's April the 23rd, is normally the day of the year where people in England celebrate St George, the country's patron saint. And if you missed it, or maybe forgot to celebrate, well, you might want to listen to this closely. And that is because it hasn't actually happened yet. I know. It's because the Church of England rules means a Saint's Day can't be celebrated in the week directly after Easter. So it's actually been moved to next Monday instead. Now, the last time this happened was in 2019. So we went out into Nottingham to find out whether people are aware of the change and what the day means to them.
It's all about England, you know, celebrating our national day. Simple as that. The Irish celebrate St Patrick's, the Scots St Andrews, and St David's for the Welsh. Why don't we have St George?
Well, it's a celebration of English saint, of course. Nottingham was an Anglo-Saxon city, taken over by the Normans. I think there should be more. It's England's patron saint, St George. What's wrong with that? He killed a dragon, supposedly. And yeah, there should be more of it.
Well, obviously, following it from Nottingham, probably the best city on St George is King Richard I. I'm following it from there, so obviously all traditional places where we're going to go today. We're going to go down, start from the furthest place, obviously, what better place than Jerusalem. Coming up to Royal Children's Salutation, the Malt Cross, and of course the Loxley,
Thurland, and the Belprat, if they've got any beer left. It seems that St Patrick's Day is celebrated more. I would agree with this. There's more music, or somebody puts more into the St Patrick's Day than what we seem to get. But yeah, we're all proud to be English.
All right, it's time for our final guests of the show now, and I assure you this is nothing short of amazing. 15-year-old Freddie Vokes is a passionate performer, a musician, a youth leader, and has just been nominated for a National Diversity Award, in fact 2 awards, and that is because Freddie has also had to balance having hearing loss, autism, ADHD and dyspraxia, although none of this has stopped him from raising thousands of pounds through the arts, which has him nominated for not 1 but 2 diversity awards, as well as performing at Notts Pride later on this year too. And I'm very pleased to say, here to tell us all about this incredible journey is Freddie himself and his mum Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us today. Freddie, let's start with you. I mean, the things that we've just been talking about are absolutely incredible, but you've now been nominated for not 1 but 2 awards. How did you feel when you were nominated?
Gobsmacked. I didn't have like a clue. I don't know who, well, it came completely out of the blue. And it was a massive surprise.
So Sarah, do you know where the nominations came from?
We know one was Owen Brindley, don't we? So he ran Nottinghamshire's Got Talent, and Fred won Nottinghamshire's Got Talent, and he nominated him for the solo award, but the community award we don't know.
Wow, so there's someone out there who's just like, yep, we want Freddie to be nominated for this award. And of course, musically, you are so gifted. Like, you've got 6 grade 8 music qualifications. I mean, I struggled to get to grade 5 in piano. You've got 6 of these grade 8 awards, 2 music diplomas as well. This is a massive feat for anybody, but you're 15. Like, where did the love of music come from?
Well, I've always grown up with music in the house. So my brother Max, he's grade 8 in piano. My other brother, he was a singer for a long time. And then I just grew up around music all the time. So then I got put through my grades. I got loads of UCAS points through them grades, and now using like my diploma, because I've got 2 diplomas. I'm using them, and I've just opened up my own drama and music school.
I mean, when I'm thinking back to when I was 15, there is no way I would be doing anything like this, because you are busy. Sarah, we will come to you, but I've got so much to talk to Freddie about. You also write original music to support mental health awareness in young people, and every single penny you raise goes towards helping others that are feeling less alone. And what I love about you is you're so passionate about using your voice. What motivates you, Freddie?
Well, so the past couple of years have been rough for me through my mental health journey, and that really inspired me. I think probably 2 years ago now, but I was really struggling with that anxiety, and I was not in a great place, and I decided that, because when I kind of got the school supported me a lot, they helped me, and I thought, what could I do to help people that were in the same situation as me? How can I get that, get them support and things? So I decided to write my own music and give the money that I raise from that to Young Minds.
And Sarah, let's move to you. You're Freddie's mum. I've got 2 young boys myself, not quite 15, but it's so hard when you see your children go through tough situations, but you must be so proud of Freddie.
Oh, honestly, I couldn't be prouder, really. He struggled at school mainly due to bullying, because of his neurodiversity a lot of the time, wasn't it? And I think he really struggled to fit in to the norms of school. And I think, you know, using the music and using the power of music to get him through that has been, well, it's been brilliant, hasn't it? It's been so good. And then, you know, to use that to obviously earn the money that he's earned for, you know, different charities along the way, it just means it's, you know, it's helping other people. So yeah, super proud.
Amazing. And of course 2025 is a massively busy year for you. You're performing at some incredible events. Tell us a little bit more about them.
So the event that I'm doing first is Positively Empowered Kids.
And they're so brilliant. We've had them on the show a few times. They're so great.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Notts Pride, they've asked me to do a 5-minute slot on the main stage, which is going to be
So what
amazing.
will you be doing? Piano or singing?
Singing.
Or? Amazing. Do you know what you're going to sing yet?
Or
is that secret? Come back and tell us about that. No spoilers on that. And when is that?
That is 26th of July.
July. Okay, so we've got a bit of time for that one. And do you get nervous still performing, or is it it's just what you do now, Freddie?
Well, I've got something that a very wise man told me, Michael Xavier, is excitement and nerves are the same feeling, just in different contexts.
So good. It's so true as well.
I live by them words.
It's so good.
Absolutely, like.
And if people want to find out more about what you're doing or when you're performing, is there anywhere we can find out more about you?
Yep. So I've got 2 different Instagram accounts. One is The Real Freddie Vokes and the other one is Freddie Vokes Music and Drama School. So you can find updates on either the Music and Drama School or my personal kind of like what I do for performances and what I'm doing currently.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story, Freddie and Mum Sarah.
Thank you
so
for having
much.
us.
Total pleasure. What a superstar. I think we're going to be hearing a lot more from him. Right, elsewhere on the channel, and last night we aired a very latest episode of Team Talk where Mark Shardlow and Charlie McParland returned following the Easter break with loads to talk over in the world of football. And this week they were joined by former Forest forward Ian Storey-Moore, and part of the discussion was around whether Mansfield can class their season as successful given that they've likely avoided relegation but struggled to maintain their form. You can catch up with the show online or on YouTube right now, and here is some of that Mansfield discussion.
Isn't it? When if you look at league games, 2 wins in 20, all games 2 wins in 21. That's a horrible stat for the second half of the season.
But again, I've got a good saying: you're better ending the season well than starting the season well, because everybody forgets about the start of the season, and the start of the season's foreign will keep them up.
Yeah.
And when you start going into budgets and all that stuff, and you look at that league, you've got 5 ex-Premier League teams in it for starters. Then you've got the Wrexhams who've got loads of money. You've got the Stockports who've got lots of money. You've got big clubs. You've got Huddersfield in there, Reading in there. Yeah, they're having a tough time, but they ain't have got a good athletic side, and they're a big club. Lots of big clubs in there.
Yeah.
So again, just it's not good reading, yes, but when you put everything in context, staying in that league, the job's done.
Well, let's have a look at the 3 games to come, and let's just see who the Stags have got. Birmingham away. The game in hand is home to Peterborough, and then home to Exeter City. So 2 home games. You'd hope they'll finish the season with a win.
It's Exeter away there, Mark.
Oh, is Exeter away?
I think, is it?
Right.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Okay.
They've been down to Exeter. I think that should be home.
Yeah, they did that. I think that's a home game.
Yep, it's a home game.
That's a home game.
Yeah, so we've got 2 home games. Yeah, they've been down to Exeter.
Yeah.
So
because
we lost that.
Exeter at home. So it's 2 home games to finish
the
the
season.
season
We lost that Exeter game 2.
All right, it's time for a last look at your Thursday picture of the day. Now, thank you so much to Chris Breeze. Look at that gorgeous spring shot of St Mary's Rest in Sneinton, looking beautiful. As for the weather, we're a little low on sunlight for the rest of the week, I'm afraid. We've had some sunshine today, but that cloud will be coming back tonight, dropping to lows of 6 degrees tomorrow. We'll once again see some sunshine, but that will turn mostly cloudy by the afternoon, with a high of 16 and a low of 8. Looking ahead to Saturday, much of the same story really. Sun with overcast skies with a high of 15 and a low of 8. And that is just about the end of the show today. Thanks as always. We've had some great guests on the sofa today. I will be back with you at the same time tomorrow, guiding you into the weekend. But until then, whatever you're doing with your Thursday evening, have a great one. From everyone on the team, I'm Emma Coldwell, and we'll see you tomorrow at 5:30. Bye-bye.